From a man in a rubber mask to a flesh-eating zombie, from a goofy Great Dane to a creature seemingly descended from ancient aliens, Scooby-Doo has been reinvented for just about every generation for over 50 years. This talking dog and his mystery-solving friends have been a TV staple. But have you ever wondered why this isn't just a case of Hollywood being lazy? The secret to Scooby-Doo's incredible survival lies in a constant tug-of-war between two extremes: a gritty supernatural thriller and a silly Saturday morning cartoon. Today we're pulling back the curtains on the biggest changes in the franchise's history, and what they reveal about the nature of television itself. To figure out why the show keeps changing, we have to look at what made it a hit in the first place. In 1969, CBS debuted Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, created for Hanna-Barbera by Joe Ruby and Ken Spears. It was designed to be a safer, less violent cartoon for Saturday mornings. The premise was simple but brilliant. Four teenagers and their dog travel around in the mystery machine, stumbling upon spooky mysteries that always turn out to have a perfectly rational explanation. Every single episode followed a comforting formula: a creepy monster, a slapstick chase scene with a catchy pop song, and the iconic unmasking, where the ghost is revealed to be just a person covering up a crime. This formula was a smash hit. It gave us the core archetypes we all know and love: Fred the leader, Daphne the danger prone, Velma the brains, Shaggy the slacker, and Scooby the cowardly dog. Its success led to follow-ups like the new Scooby-Doo movies in the 1970s, which expanded the show to an hour and its package of celebrity guest stars like Don Knotts and the Harlem Globetrotters. For its first decade, the franchise motto was basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But by the end 70s, it was breaking. The 1980s were an identity crisis for Scooby-Doo, with network executives at ABC getting nervous about keeping the show fresh. They demand a shake-up. Their first and most infamous solution arrived in 1979, Scrappy-Doo. This tiny feisty pup was brought in to inject new energy in a comedy. For a little while, it actually worked. Ratings went up, but it came with a huge cost. The show was retooled to focus almost entirely on Scrappy, Shaggy, and Scooby, while Fred, Daphne, and Velma were dropped from the series for a while. Mysteries got shorter, the tone became way more comedic, and the core dynamic that fans first fell in love with was gone. But the wild experiments didn't stop there. In 1985, the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo flipped the entire script. For the first time ever, the monsters are real. The gang, now joined by a young con artist named Flim Flam and a warlock named Vincent Van Ghoul, had to capture 13 ghosts they'd accidentally unleashed. It was a radical change, turning the mystery solvers into a genuine Ghostbuster. Then, just a few years later, in 1988, the pendulum swung all the way back with a pup named Scooby-Doo. This series reimagined the cast as kids and went for a zany, self-referential style straight out of Looney Tunes. The 80s proved that to survive, Scooby-Doo had to be willing to change, even if it meant confusing its audience. The franchise was throwing everything at the wall just to see what would stick. By the 1990s, the franchise was struggling. After a few TV movies, Scooby-Doo was mostly off the air for several years, the longest break in its history at that point. But a revival was brewing. Thanks to the show's renewed popularity and rerun cartoons on Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers, which had acquired Hanna-Barbera, saw new potential. They decided to greenlight a direct-to-video film. In 1998, they released what many fans consider a masterpiece, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Zombie Island was a total game changer. The creative team was given almost complete freedom, and they crafted a story for the generation that grew up with the original show. The gang were now young adults, the tone was legitimately dark, and the mystery was genuinely scary. Most importantly, it came with the famous tagline, "This time the monsters are real." The film was a huge critical and commercial success, breathing new life into the franchise and kicking off a string of popular direct-to-videos movies. This darker, more mature tone paved the way for the franchise's big return to TV in 2002, What's New Scooby-Doo, successfully brought back the classic formula with the updated animation and technology, proving the old concept still worked, but the true successor to Zombie Island. Ambition, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which premiered in 2010, often hailed as the best series in the franchise's history. Mystery Incorporated was a darker, serialized reboot. It borrowed a playbook from prestige dramas like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Twin Peaks, weaving one massive mystery across its entire 52-episode run. The characters had deep emotional arcs, messy romantic plots, and complicated family history. It treated the gang not as simple archetypes, but as fully realized people. This series proved Scooby-Doo could be more than just a Monster of the Week cartoon. It could be a compelling, story-driven drama. After the critical success of Mystery Incorporated, the franchise pivoted hard, this time back to pure comedy. 2015's Be Cool Scooby-Doo was a shock to the system. For many fans, it sported a radically different, blocky art style, often compared to shows like Family Guy, and its tone was aggressively comedic and self-aware. Daphne developed a random, new, quirky personality in every episode, and the slapstick was dialed up to 11. It was a calculated move to appeal to the younger audience, used to the fast-paced comedy first style of modern animation. In the years since, the franchise has only gotten more diverse. Scooby-Doo and Guess Who was a nostalgic throw throwback to the celebrity crossover format of the 70s. The cinematic movie Scoob attempted to launch a Hanna-Barbera shared universe. In the highly controversial adult animated series, Velma tried to capture an entirely different demographic, landing with a deeply polarizing and, for many fans, overwhelming negative reception. The story isn't over either. Netflix has announced that a new live-action series titled Scooby-Doo Origins is in development, promising another darker reimagining of how the gang got together. So what's the real reason? Why does Hollywood keep rebooting Scooby-Doo? Honestly, because it has to. The franchise's constant evolution is a direct reaction to the changing landscape of television. Each reboot, whether goofy or gritty, is an attempt to answer the question, what do audiences want right now? The wacky experiment of the 80s were a desperate bid to stay relevant. The Dark Turn of Zombie Island was a brilliant play to recapture a grown-up audience. The serialized storytelling of Mystery Incorporated mirrored the rise of complex TV dramas, and the zany comedy of Be Cool Scooby-Doo was an adaptation to the newer generation's comedic taste. Scooby-Doo's longevity isn't in spite of those constant changes, but because of them. The core concept of four friends and a dog solving mysteries is so strong that it can be bent into almost any shape. A sitcom, a horror movie, a teen drama, a slapstick comedy, it's a pop culture constant, a reliable brand that can be endlessly reinvented to meet the moment. That ultimately is the secret behind the Mystery Machine. It never ever stops moving forward. But what do you think? What's your favorite version of Scooby and the Gang? Is it the classic original, the dark and serialized Mystery Incorporated, or one of the mini movies? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite cartoons.